And welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective Podcast. My name is Adam Kraut.
And I am John Patton.
And we'd like to thank our sponsors for tonight's show, Tactical Baby Gear and the TGC Patriots over at Patreon that are supporting us here at TGC. So another week's gone by. Another podcast is going right on time as usual. How you been, John?
Dude, I'm good. I'm tired. We were out. I was out at the range today prepping for a couple things. We filmed a video. Ben and I were out filming a video with a rusted out Mosin Nagant. The bore is just super rusted. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was interrupting you, but who? So I saw on Instagram in the story there was a quick video of this. Who set that jig up?
That's what I like to call.
That's
what I like to call the Jank Master 5000.
It's pretty janky.
Oh yeah, totally janky. It's a 2x6 with some other 2x6 pieces on top that I cut a notch in so that the gun could like lay in it.
So and then
I built this.
Okay.
With decking screws and a piece of an 8-foot board. So I basically cut up a 2x6 and put a hole in one of them so it would be behind the action in case anything decided to come rearward. And we stood, I don't know, 15, 20 feet back and pulled the trigger with a string. We filmed things in high speed to see what. Well, it could have blown up. It did not, shocker. But yeah, we got some really interesting footage out of it, including some gigantic fireballs. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know when that video will go out, but it was freaking cool. So we're doing that, and
so now what you're saying is we have a remote test rig now where we don't need to sacrifice limbs to potentially get cool footage.
Yeah, I mean that was completely necessary for that thing. Like I was not about to. I was not about to be anywhere near that, so we made one. We actually trashed it, and we're gonna rebuild it next time so that's a little more robust.
The jig.
Yeah. The Jank Master 5000 has been destroyed.
So we'll be upgrading to the Jank Master 6000.
Yeah, well, we might go straight to 10,000.
550. So for those that I guess to paint a visual here, in addition to those 2x4s, the Mosin Nagant itself was just the receiver with a barrel. There was no stock on it.
Right. It's the barreled action with a trigger.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And it was hose clamped into that thing?
We used pipe hangers, like metal pipe hanger like strips, cut that over, screwed that down into the boards. And then towards the end, we started using tie straps. We screwed the whole thing down to a wooden table so that it wouldn't go anywhere. I mean, it wasn't that bad. The recoil lug actually sat right up against the one piece of wood, and you guys will see the video. It's gonna be pretty rad. So the other thing that we were doing today at the range, Ben and I, was prepping for a rimfire match that we're both shooting this weekend. Unfortunately, Adam could not join us. We've traded off matches. But I'm going to go shoot that with the TCR 22 because I was really excited about that gun. So I'm going to see how I do with it. Yeah, that's kind of what we were doing. Also test firing some other stuff and blah, blah, blah.
That TCR 22 is a pretty sweet rifle especially for the cost in it.
Yeah.
Off when you
somebody said that you could get one for like $250.
I kind of at that price, I kind of need one.
Yeah, they're pretty rad. And here's the thing: we took it apart today to clean it because it was filthy, and we started kind of analyzing what parts were the same as a 1022 and which were not. It appears that a 1022 barrel will go in there, maybe a 1022 trigger, but you might lose the bolt hold open feature if you do that. Not positive. All in all, it's very, very similar to a 1022. Just a little bit nicer, really. It's got the rail machined right into the top. The stock is weird because I couldn't get low enough with the iron sights to like get a good cheek. Like I had to smush myself to get on there properly. And then when we put an optic on there, couldn't quite get it right. But now I actually took that EOTech for this match. I took that EOTech Voodoo, slammed that up on there and put it on a put like a beanie. So literally Ben took the beanie off his hat. We rolled it up and taped it to the stock.
Yep. You know what's funny? Before I shot that last match with Ben. So what's really funny about this is we both have like $200 22 rifles. I mean, I'm shooting a Savage Mark II FVSR, but it's like a $200 gun. It's nothing special. Yours is like a $200 gun, and we both put optics on there. Like I have my Vortex Razor, the AMG one, that's wicked expensive. That's going on my fix. The scope mount should be shipping hopefully this week. But you're putting the voodoo on that. It's just, you know, the optic costs like 10 times the amount the gun does, and that's kind of funny.
I'm looking up what that thing costs because I know it's not cheap. It's like a $2,000 scope that I have on top of a $400 rifle, like MSRP $400, and then I've got it's ridiculous. It's absurd. That scope though. So I had a Nikon on it, and which is a decent scope. It's a Nikon Black. It's like a $700-800 optic, and then I put that thing on there and went, oh my god, I can see.
Yeah,
like the clarity of the glass is unbelievable in comparison.
It's so I'll tell you, having shot at that range. I mean, I guess you do shoot out kind of far with the 22. It's pretty cool shooting through like glass like that. Although when we were down in Georgia at the Iraq Veterans Shoot, when we were at I think it was the RMS2 booth, and like Cqg made and all them, they had one of those Vortex. I think it's the Diamondback, that new first focal plane.
Oh yeah.
That's like $500. I think like MSRP $500. So street price is more like the high 3s, low 4s. That I'm gonna end up, I think, with one of those for my my Savage here, because it was, you know, for a 22 it was like perfect optic. And
is it really that good?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the money, yeah. I was, for the money and what I'm gonna put it on. You know, I'm not putting it on like a rifle that's got a lot of recoil or anything like that. So yeah,
right.
I'm sold on that, especially having shot a match using a good optic. Like I don't want to go. I had a Crossfire like 2-7 on there, and I just can't go back. I'm gonna give that thing to somebody. Get like $50 for it.
So funny thing that I think you'll appreciate. So while we're out there, you know, dialing it in, gathering dope, that sort of thing, I'm sitting there looking at the stock, and I'm like, man, this isn't perfect. And Ben, you know, casually, you should just, you know, find a stock for it, or, you know, get some kind of chassis or whatever. And next thing I know, I'm looking at like $200 and $300 stocks for this rifle, and then I'm like, oh well, I should get one for my Savage too. I should get one for.
Yeah,
I was actually considering. Have you seen the Boyd's AT1 @1? I don't know what it's actually called, but it's like, it's laminate. It has push button adjustments on the length of pull and cheek riser. Really nice looking stock. That it's pretty affordable, I think. But still cool.
Your $200 22 turns into like this, you know, $4,000 gun by the time you're done with it.
Hey, whatever.
There are people that shoot those. Yeah, so that's cool. Sounds like you guys had a good day at the range there.
Yeah, it was a solid day.
Yeah. Well, let me know how that match goes. I think you'll have a good time. You know, I still, to this day, I maintain that shooting 22s is probably one of the more fun shooting activities anybody can do, especially once you start putting silencers on them.
Yeah. You know, we had done some accuracy testing with that TCR 22 rifle, and in there, the RWS R100 ammo, I was able to shoot really, really tight groups with that. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe the next time I go out, I won't shoot as well, and blah, blah, blah. Today, I put down another, you know, obviously you have a flyer sometimes, one off to the side, and then just like all like almost same hole. I'm like, okay, clearly that's the ammo I need to be using, because me and that ammo get along really well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. So, and I got a 22. I got to come by and pick up.
That's right. You have a Volquartsen.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that thing out. Maybe I'll swing by and grab that. Anyway, so I guess getting to some of the news that's happened this past week that I'm sure the viewers are interested in hearing about. ATF, this one was a big one that has caused a lot of concern here. And sorry, I just saw Izzy mentioned my voice was a little quiet, so you guys can tell me if that's any better. ATF had released an email that went out to industry members, where they said that effective immediately, they weren't going to be offering classifications on accessories anymore. And, you know, if reading the email, it actually says that they're not going to offer classifications on accessories that are just sent to them. They've got to be attached to, pardon me, a firearm for them to issue a determination. So I wrote a blog article, I wrote an article on Recoil Web about it, but essentially the long story short on it is that Firearms Technology Industry Services Branch, or FTISB, is tasked with classifying whether or not something is in fact a firearm, and if it is, whether it's a firearm under the Gun Control Act or the National Firearms Act. And they do this based on how it's configured and the design features of that thing that's submitted to them by members of the industry. So a lot of people took this to be some kind of giant conspiracy. And there was another article over on the firearms blog that was a follow-up from an official at ATF, and I had a private conversation with an unnamed individual at ATF that said essentially it was just for workflow purposes. There's no grand planned conspiracy there. And a lot of people brought up the concern of, well, if I attach this thing to this, what it is, a firearm, we'll say, and they deem it to be, I don't know, like an AOW or an SBR, wouldn't that open me up to being liable for prosecution? And in my experience, everything I've ever seen from the firearms technology branch has always been, if they determine that it is in fact an NFA firearm, if you're an SOT, they'll send it back to you. If you're not an SOT, they just keep it. I've never seen anybody be prosecuted for saying like, hey, I built this thing, can you tell me what it is? That said, I guess,
yeah, I think that's like a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's just what I've seen. I could understand how people could reach that conclusion and concern, but it's nothing I've ever seen where somebody has sent something in ATF and said, yeah, this is a machine gun, and then prosecuted them later on for it.
Right.
They usually just keep it.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past the U.S. government to do some nonsense like that, but I don't think that the tech branch is going to do that sort of thing. To me, they're closer to being on our side as far as understanding what's okay and what's not okay than a lot of other government agencies. Now, I think the ATF is a useless agency as a whole, but I think as far as, branches thereof, tech branch is usually like, okay, here, guys, look, here's this thing, here's what we found, here's why. And they never really get involved in the politics of it, at least from what I've seen. Maybe you've seen different.
Oh, I guess that's all a matter of interpretation.
Yeah.
How you want to look at the issue. So anyway, that's that. The Parkland Commission recommends that teachers be armed to stop violence. So this was what I found to be an interesting finding. So there was a panel appointed to investigate what happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where that person murdered a whole bunch of people. So they actually recommended that teachers who volunteer and undergo extensive background checks, I don't really know what that has to do with anything, but in training, be allowed to carry concealed guns on campus to stop future shootings. So what's interesting is when you look at all the onslaught of things that are proposed, be it more restrictive laws or things like metal detectors, this whole idea of arming teachers was really shunned by a lot of people. And here you have a commission that looked into more recent shooting and saying that, well, actually, arming teachers is a viable solution to this issue as a way to stop it from potentially, spiraling out to be something far more tragic than what it could have been.
Well, what do you think? I mean, putting firearms in an area that's much closer to what's taking place, I mean, logically, that makes a ton of sense, right? If we always as a community say, oh, well, if I was there and I had a firearm, excuse me, trying not to sneeze. If I was there and I had a firearm, I would have stopped whatever it was. I mean, if a teacher is there and has a firearm and has the ability to use it, does that not make sense? I'm sure people will find a way to complain about, teachers enacting violence on a student, but then again, that raises the question of, well, was that student a threat? Blah, 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 blah. But that's a whole nother conversation. I think that teachers should be armed if they want to be.
And I agree with you. And I've said that from the beginning. I don't think there should ever be a mandate that teachers have to be armed. I think it's something that if they would like to exercise that ability, they should be able to do so. Uh, I'm not one to think that training requirements are something that an individual should be required to do in order to exercise the right to carry a firearm. Now, I don't know if you talk about it in the context of a individual doing it in the performance of their job, which I think arguably there might be something there in this context. I don't know if it hurts necessarily. But could a teacher with a firearm potentially stop a mass shooting? Yeah, potentially. Am I going to say guaranteed 100%? No, I'm not going to say that.
Well, there are no guarantees in a situation like that.
No, absolutely not. The teacher could be the first one shot, and then all bets are off. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that you have this panel recommending that, especially when there's a lot of I would say political pushback on that very issue.
Yeah. Hang on. One thing I want to shove in here at the end of this. Shout out to all major news networks that continue making mass shooters famous. This article about arming teachers, the only image in this article on Fox News is an image of the shooter with his name in it. Come on. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. That's unfortunately that's something that we continue to do as a society, and I would suspect that there probably is a correlation, if not some causation, to individuals continuing to do this nonsense with the fame that these people get. Here's another one that not necessarily gun related, but they do have a lot of gun. A lot of gun people do like their stuff. A Chinese conglomerate aims to buy Amer Sports, which is the parent company of like Arc'teryx and Salomon, the shoe company. Salomon, the shoe company. Sunto.
Solomon?
I don't know.
Solomon?
I don't wear their shoes. I
think it's Solomon. I don't.
Whatever.
Sunto, Atomic. Blah blah blah.
They own a whole bunch of different companies. And what was interesting about this was there's this huge I'm a member of a Facebook group that is like just Arc'teryx stuff. There's a lot of negative reaction to it, and if you look at a lot of the inside of Arc'teryx stuff, some of it is made in China, and I think there's this I don't know how this will pan out. Let me preface this with I'm not clairvoyant. If I were, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing in life, I'll tell you that much. But there are a lot of goods that do come out of China that are very well made. There are very state-of-the-art, factories and whatnot for goods, and there's also a lot of crap that comes out of there. But having owned Arc'teryx things and some Arc'teryx things that are made in China, I haven't had an issue with any of them. So I don't think this will necessarily be detrimental to the brand, but I guess obviously if that sale goes through, time will tell whether or not that has a negative effect or not.
I think it's interesting watching, these companies that a lot of people kind of hold close to their hearts, in a real world situation, like a Chinese investment firm buying them. People look at, Solomon and Arc'teryx, and they kind of they put them on a pedestal in a certain way. And I think seeing this kind of corporate nonsense at play puts it back into perspective. We see a lot of this with, the ATKs of the world, where in reality, the brands that and love don't really matter. They don't really matter at the top, 50,000 foot view. It's more so about assets and valuation and all that kind of stuff, like you see on Shark Tank. It's interesting.
Businesses are in business to make money.
Businesses are businesses for business.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Quote,
that.
You can quote that. I don't even know what the hell that means, but you can. Quote
I don't either.
For sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, I own a bunch of Arc'teryx stuff that I'm very happy with, and I actually I go out and backpack and use it. So we'll see. And I know a lot of people in the gun community like their stuff, so I figure that was worth chatting about. There's an article from the New York Times. I am the good guy with a gun. Black gun owners reject stereotypes, demand respect.
New York Times published this.
Yeah, New York Times published this, and it was a I scrolled through it. I won't say I read every single entry in here, although I guess scrolling through it again, it looks like I almost did. So there have been several recent incidents where police officers have shot black men who tried to stop a shooting, and this article is about African American gun owners tell us how they navigate being wrongly perceived as a threat. I thought the article was an interesting article. You know, it has quotes from various people and their pictures. So, like the first one, for instance, is an individual, Michael Anderson. He's a retired airman, and he says, you know, as a retired airman, I feel as if I'm not entitled to the same rights I defended. You know, I carry myself as a professional. I also smile and act more friendly to reduce stereotypes. Lets people know that he was in the military. And then, you know, he ends it with, I carry to protect myself and my loved ones. I'm not going to go running into a gunfight. I'll think twice before reacting. But if I'm there and someone's threatened, I'll do what it takes for their protection. And it notes here that he's been a gun owner for 3 years. You have a law enforcement officer who carries for work. He says that when he walks into a gun store, there's certain levels of extra scrutiny, as seen apparently with most minorities. You know, he's been a gun owner for 11 years. There's a woman who said she's had two good experiences in Texas. I guess she may have been pulled over. It says revealing a concealed weapon during a traffic stop. That she let the officer knew she had a gun. There was no hostile reactions, but I made sure to tell them immediately and try to moderate her voice. So it was an interesting article. And, you know, obviously being I'm not middle-aged, but, you know, being like in my 30s and being a white guy, I know I'm not profiled or looked at the same way that somebody of you know, a different color, race, you know, gender, maybe. So I can't pretend to relate to that. You know, and I don't know. I don't know if it's different in rural areas versus urban areas. You know, what state you're in versus what state you're not in. I don't know, but I thought it was an interesting article, especially coming out of the New York Times.
I think a lot of this is bridging a gap. I think this is fantastic that this sort of thing actually got published. I don't know that it does a lot right now, but I think it is starting to bridge the gap of information. You know, this is not a piece that is slanted and says, well, these people carry a gun, but screw them for carrying a gun. Like, we've seen that kind of stuff happen before. This is a wide variety of people. I mean, there's the folks you mentioned. There's people in here that have owned for, you know, close to 30 years. Some are newer gun owners. There's a transgender. There's an attorney. There's all kinds of different people in here from all over the country. And I think it's really interesting seeing that perspective. And, you know, both of us being what I'm going to call middle-aged white dudes, you know, I think we represent a very specific and common area of the gun industry. And these folks are out there just being who they are and supporting the Second Amendment in their own way. And I think that's cool. I think that was even better that they were willing to talk about it to the Times. And I don't know how the Times went ahead and found these people, but I think this is a really good step forward. You know, we're always trying to grow as a community, and this I think is a good thing for us.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And I mean, you certainly look at in the last 2 years or so, the prevalence of education being pushed out there by people, you know, Maj Toure for one, just one of a few, but he certainly has kind of run with that.
Sure.
So I think it's good that things like that are becoming more mainstream, and urban areas are definitely an area where the gun community has lacked at giving attention, you know, be it the black population or otherwise. Cities have just never been anything that they've really kind of pushed. So here's one that I actually found really fascinating and cool. The idea is grounded in physics, and the article is titled, "Should the U.S. Air Force Bomb Forest Fires?"
The answer is yes.
Well, yeah, destroy that threat. So earlier this summer, the Swedish Air Force actually did just that. They dropped a laser-guided bomb on a forest fire. And now there's a proposal floating out there for the US to kind of do the same thing. So I know what my first reaction was. I don't follow. You want to bomb some? How is this going to work? Well, if you think about it, actually, it makes a lot of sense. The shockwave, the article explains that in Sweden, the shockwave from a single bomb snuffed out flames within a 100-yard radius of the impact point. Now, I don't know what size bomb that was. It was a GBU 49 laser guided bomb. Let's see if this article tells me.
I've got 3 of those in my garage.
Do you?
Don't tell the ATF.
That's amazing. I'm a pound bomb. And it snuffed out, 100-yard radius. So you figure, I don't know. I wasn't good at math. Somebody else do the math on how much of an area that took out. But
that's 100 square yards. Let's just call it that.
Sure. So there's a F-15 Strike Eagle weapon system officer who proposes using B-1s with, I think is what they carry, 84 bombs or so, to do the same exact thing here in the United States. And it's an interesting idea. If you've ever seen the video of like the mother of all bombs going off in, I think it was Afghanistan, you watch that shockwave, that air just being pushed, and it would totally just, just like oxygen is gone. You may not get, in that instance, you may not get killed by the initial blast. It might be the shockwave that ends up taking you. But I thought that was an interesting article.
There was so back in I guess it was the Middle East back in the day. What was that called? It's Kuwait when we went in there. Desert Storm. That's what I was thinking. So back in that time frame when there was all kinds of like oil fires and they had to put them out, and that sort of thing still happens on these wells out there. So what they'll do is they'll strap dynamite to the end of it. They'll put like a package out there and they'll blow it up because it moves all of the oxygen, not necessarily all through force, but through also consuming all of the air in a certain area, and it just puts out the fire.
Right.
So this is not a new concept, and it does work. Now, I would hope that they do not F this up royally and hurt somebody. I would hope that they did this in very rural areas and didn't accidentally bomb someone's house on U.S. soil, because Lord help them if they did.
Well, I suspect that, again, this is just a proposal from a weapon system officer. It's not anything from any official government agency or anything. But I thought it was an interesting idea. And
I think it's a cool brilliant idea. It's brilliant.
It's something different.
We have, how many bombs do we have just sitting around? Let's use them.
Probably not that many. We're dropping.
Shut up, Adam. Shut up. Let me dream. Let me dream that we have warehouses of bombs.
Well, I guess we're headed to that halftime spot where we got to talk about the people who make this show possible. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about Tactical Baby Gear?
So Tactical Baby Gear is a really cool company. A lot of people our age, Adam, a lot of folks are getting married, having children.
Kids. Nope.
I said a lot. I didn't say you. A lot of them are, getting married, having children, etc. And if you're like me, you may not want to be carrying around some kind of nonsense, girly looking, very feminine diaper bag or something, a baby carrier, things of that nature. You maybe want to have some fun with it. If you're going to be tortured by having a child, yes, I said tortured by having a child. If you want to go down that road, you might as well have some cool guy type gear, right? So Tactical Baby Gear, that's where they come in. They've got things like the dump pouch, the backpacks. They sell ballistic panels for them, the diaper bags, the Deuce 2.0, I think is what the diaper bag's called. They have a whole bunch of stuff. And if you go over to tacticalbabygear.com and use the code TGC10, you get 10% off. You get some cool gear, and you don't have to, get into that very effeminate, very Disney girly nonsense. You can get yourself a cool guy pack. Also, they have a tactical teddy, which you can see on our videos doing a moonwalk. So you may want to grab one of those as well. Who's the other sponsor tonight, Adam?
Well, we'd also like to thank our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/The Gun Collective. You can pledge your support for either $1 or $5 a month. You join the $1 Army or the $5 Forces. The $5 Forces gets you entered to win a monthly gun giveaway. And this month's giveaway is, because I don't know,
I also don't know. I just announced the winner for so we gave away the Remington TAC 14 and a Mossberg Shockwave. We gave away one of each, plus a custom engraved case to go with them. One of each to 2 winners this time. You know, we're doing it crazy. I don't know exactly what the gun is yet for this coming month. I've got to find one. I've got to figure out what makes the most sense.
An unknown ghost gun.
It's an unknown, and if you guys have suggestions, feel free to let me know. I would love to hear, what you guys want.
Waiting for that person to be like, that FK Bruno was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that $7,500 gun that I had to... They demanded that thing back, by the way. Anyway, TGC Patreon supporters, we love you, and we can't wait to give you guys another gun very, very soon. Adam, what are we talking about now?
Well, we got some new product news now, actually. We've got Magpul, a leak that has now disappeared off their website. For those of you that are CZ Scorpion Evo 3 fans, they apparently have a new grip coming out that's going to be priced at $24.95. No reaction. Dead air.
Sorry, as it pulling up the screen share.
You're pulling it up. Okay, yeah. So for those watching, you can see it. And for those not watching, John will give you a very awesome image for your head.
So imagine they took an MOE grip and shifted everything slightly rear and upward. That's it. It's just
that sounds awkward.
It's a Mo grip. I mean, it's very difficult to describe it any other way. There's slight texturing on the sides, kind of horizontal lines on the front. Looks like a solid grip. $25 was the MSRP. That's a short leak there. I hope that everybody here can actually see. So if you are watching and you're loving seeing this stuff on the screen, please let us know. We would appreciate the feedback. And I'm pretty excited about this kind of stuff. I love seeing Magpul get more and more into the cool guy stuff for guns that everybody's into, not just the AR-15 or the AK. I love seeing them expand into new territory.
Yeah, they're the one company that consistently is, I think, right in the way they expand into other areas of the gun world. Lago Arms, Czech company, best known for developing the Scorpion Evo 3 and then selling that design to CZ.
Is that how it happened? I did not know that.
Yeah, according to this article. Yeah, I didn't know that either. They'll be introducing their new Alien 9mm in spring of 2019. We've talked about it here before. Low bore axis, fixed barrel, quick change optic rail. They're going to be introducing it with a limited run of 500 pistols. That run is going to come with a holster red dot sight, which I don't know what brand it'll be. 3 mags and several upper slides.
That sounds expensive.
It's a red dot Seymour. Oh yeah, you MSRP ready?
Yep.
5 Gs.
Oh, that's good. So if you're looking, I have one on screen. You can kind of see the slide and then the barrel below the slide and that kind of weird top rail thing. And I'm also going to play a video here so that you guys can kind of see what's going on. Let me see if I can make this full screen for you guys. Yep, there we go. So everybody can see what's going on. Looks like a really cool gun. But $5,000, Adam, do you think that thing will... I mean, for 500 of them, it better be really, really good. Better be really, really good for that money.
Well, let me put it to you this way. There's not a pistol out there I would spend $5,000 on.
Really? So, not one?
No. What's it going to do that, a less expensive gun won't do? They all put rounds down range. Some obviously do it more comfortably and possibly even a little better than others, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It pushes a piece of lead at a high rate of speed in a direction hopefully opposite to you. I'm sorry, that's just a handgun's not worth $5,000 to me. I've got plenty of other things I would rather spend $5,000 on.
So here's an interesting thing. There's a guy in this video. It's going to be difficult for you guys to see, but he's running it and it's shooting very flat. However, No matter what, you cannot stop the slide's end of travel recoil. You can't stop it. It is a physical impossibility. You can slow it down, you can change it, but you cannot get rid of it until you change the operation of the gun. And while this does look flat, it looks $5,000 flat. And I'm not necessarily sure that I'm into spending that much money. I would love to shoot one. No question in my mind. It could be one of the best pistols ever. It really could. Like, potentially, as far as operation goes, this thing could be incredible.
Oh, it'd be rad to shoot. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not spending $5,000 on a handgun. It just ain't happening.
Yeah, I don't know that I will either.
I don't think you will. And if you do, I'll smack you for everybody.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Discrete Ballistics patents a first-round pop reduction system. Now, this is an interesting idea. It's one that I don't want to say I had the same idea, but what I have thought about in the past is taking like a can of compressed air and just, either blowing it through the barrel out, so the air's traveling through the barrel out of the can, or even the opposite way to help reduce first-round pop, just for giggle purposes, really. But Discrete Ballistics, about a year ago, developed what's called the Pop Stop. So it's a barrel-mounted valve, and it has a CO2 cartridge attachment that injects CO2 into the can to replace the oxygens, which reduces or eliminates first-round pop, because in order to get first-round pop, you need oxygen. They were just issued a patent for that idea, and I thought that was an interesting thing to obtain a patent on. I don't know if it's something that it was commercially really interesting for people. It's a cool idea, like for something to play around with, but I don't know if I would spend money on something like that.
I certainly wouldn't spend, and there you can see it on screen. It's basically just like an intermediate valve, and comes with the adapter for a little CO2 tank. I certainly would not spend $100 for getting the first round pop gone. I would not do that unless it made it like shooting it wet, because shooting a can wet does amazing things, but it also creates a huge mess. However, if this was some kind of amazing thing and it lasted forever, that'd be cool, but there's no way. I mean, they have an MSRP on the website, and I'll pull it back up so everybody can see. Oops, there we go. The Pop Stop, $99. You can get it in 1/2x28 or 5/8 24. It's a lot of money. It really is for that.
Well, again, I think I don't know who their target market is. It certainly isn't me, but cool, neat idea. Not my cup of tea. Remington.
Let me. I think this could have some viability in shops where they rent this sort of thing. Like if somebody's trying to rent a suppressor and going out to the range, and that
for what purpose?
That's a fair point. No, I'll shut up. All right, let's move on. Remington.
I could see it maybe if you were trying to like shoot something in a neighborhood where you weren't supposed to, but so Remington introduces the RM380 Executive. #who cares?
So the RM380 is a terrible little gun. Let's be fair.
And now they've made it
more
exclusive. Yeah, more terrible. Just when you thought Remington couldn't screw it up more, they made it more terrible and will charge you more for it.
Yeah, I don't understand the executiveness of this. It's a two-tone gun with wood.
The wood grips. Clearly the wood grips. Laminate Macassar ebony grips.
Oh, yes. If you can't pronounce it, it's fancier.
Yes, MSRP of 405. Executive as hell.
$405
MSRP
for a little 380. You know what 380?
MSRP.
You know what 380 you could buy for around that money or less?
Glock 42.
Yeah, the Glock 42, which is one of the best 380s I've ever seen.
I would dare say it is the best 380 I've ever seen in a gun that size.
In a gun any size. I don't think I've ever seen a 380 that beats it. Maybe the Problem Solver from High Point, That could be up there with it. Those are excellent 380s. I actually like high points. I just make fun of them.
No, I know. No, I know. And quite honestly, every high point I've ever shot has been decent at what it does. It's put rounds where it needs to go.
Have all the high points you've shot been mine?
Perhaps.
I don't know that answer, so I figured. All right, let's keep it moving. We have another one here. It's a grip. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so this is from Reptilia Corporation, and they have released what's called the Cqg Grip. And interestingly enough, it draws inspiration from the Colt 607. And if you're not familiar with it, Google it. It's the granddaddy of all carbines. Yeah, no, it's actually a really cool gun, and it's a gun that I'm eventually going to build a clone of. I've got to complete this 80%.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Well, you know, it was a cool gun, and I think it would make a badass SBR, and I really just need to mill out this lowers, the thing that's stopping me. Anyway, so in the original 607s, what they did was they essentially took an A1 grip, because that's what was around at the time, and they just cut off part of it at the bottom. So that's what this is, essentially.
So this is just like a little stubby grip.
It's a stubby grip would be a very good way to describe it. Yeah, so it has a more pronounced vertical grip angle. It's got anti-slip texturing on it. Has a little bit of a beaver tail design. And it is available over at Brownells. And let's see what the
I think it's $20.
Bad Larry is. Yeah, $18.99.
Ooh, hey, it doesn't look bad.
It's right in the same ballpark as, you know, pretty much. Yeah, it looks. The best way I think you could kind of describe it is it looks kind of like an MOE grip a little bit.
It looks like if you put an MOE grip in the oven for a little bit, and it was kind of like a shrinky dink where it just kind of shrunk down.
And it had a baby with a B5 grip.
Yeah, like it looks like it kind of like it was like melted ice cream style where it just kind of lost some of the definition.
Yeah,
that's what this looks like.
That's actually a really good way to describe it.
My brain does weird things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Mossberg shocks the market with its new shockwaves that belong in the trash can. Let's talk about these bad Larrys.
Whoa, we just gave away a shockwave. Why do they belong in the trash can?
Did you see these?
I love 590
these. Shockwave nightstick.
Look, that's the best
nightstick because they put wood on it.
Look, if you're trying to move product and it's getting a little stagnant, what do? You go to the ends of the earth and you innovate, and that's what Mossberg has done here. They've innovative. This is some of the most innovative gun stuff I've ever seen. A wood grip with a strap. No.
So the strap. Get this. The strap. Most people think of that traditional 590 Mossberg forend with that nylon crappy strap that's usually attached to it. No. With this nightstick edition, you get a leather strap.
Leather, and it is not high quality leather at all. This is terrible leather. So then they came out with the 590 shock and saw with an N in the middle.
No, you skip right to that one. That one.
We're going in there. We're going in there deep. Tell me about that one. What's the shock and saw all about?
Well, if you remember their garbage other gun that had that
garbage other gun.
I don't even know what the hell it was.
It was the Mossberg Chainsaw. That's what it was called.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go.
It was a pistol grip version of this.
The marketing was so bad on it, I tried to erase it from my mind. So if you don't remember that, this thing has that awful grip on the forend that you would find on the top of a chainsaw. You know, where you hold it to actually like get work done. That usually has like the safety guard that you got to trip in order to let the chain run. So similar to the SPX, which we didn't talk about, and I'm sure we'll get there in a moment, the shock and saw has a breacher muzzle with the same finish and patented grip. The description is the unique upgrade to this shorty shotgun, and they're calling it a shotgun, is an aluminum M-lock equipped forend. To crown that forend is a signature Mossberg Chainsaw foregrip to up the ante and fun. This model is currently benchmarked for $560. Listen, folks, if you have $560 and you want to set it on fire, send it to me. I'll make sure it's spent right.
So, can you explain to me why someone would want Picatinny rail on the bottom where your hand goes and makes contact and could, you know,
because your hand doesn't go there. You're holding that stupid chainsaw thing.
So why the hell would you put M-lock slots on the side so you can put a?
Because you're making a stupid gun. That's why you didn't think this through at all.
This is very confusing.
No, you literally are like, you know what? We have a lot of extras of those stupid chainsaw things that we fired Timmy for.
Screw it in a strap. It's fine.
We should probably put one of those on those new Shockwaves and sell them.
Hey, we cut the end of this barrel kind of crooked. Screw it. Just give it teeth.
Yeah, just give it teeth.
Give it teeth. It's fine. So tell me about the other one. What's the other one all about?
So the 590 Shockwave Spx, and these are all noted as non-NFA. This new offering boasts a matte black barrel. I don't know why that matters.
The other ones have a matte black barrel.
Yeah, it's not like the others were bright green or something. Although I'm surprised that's not on the chainsaw one.
Well, I'd take that.
Yeah, I know you would. Also has a breacher muzzle, matching black anodized receiver. When has Mossberg made a shotgun other than its camo line that was not a black receiver?
Yeah, that's just like
ever.
This one shoots 12 gauge. Be excited.
Like all the others.
Like that's a feature.
They're saying it has the standard Shockwave Raptor polymer bird head. Yeah, they all have that. Yeah, to cap it off, it's covered with a heat shield, aluminum side saddle, and top-mounted Picatinny rail. Listen, if you shoot this enough to warrant a heat shield, seek help.
Well, to be fair,
go ahead.
Having a heat shield on top of the receiver as well is really, really going to save people for when the receiver gets really, really hot. Also, this comes with a removable shell holder so that you can have extra ammo on the gun you leave in your closet. That's really what this is all about. Now, one of the things that comes up whenever we talk about these offerings is the SB Tactical braces. How they came out with braces for these. I actually got one for the Remington TAC 14 that's sitting behind me right now. I bought two so that I could have one and we could give one away. And I like the idea of a braced version of this, but all this extra crap on here. Like I would take the nightstick version with the wood and the pleather strap, whatever that actually is. It's actually human skin. I'm just kidding. It's not. But I would take that over any of these other fancier models. What these are for is for people that go into a gun store and are completely moronic and have no idea what to do with their money. I know a few people like this that go in and they buy the dumbest thing on the shelf because it looks cool. And that's it. Now, am I saying get rid of those people? Absolutely not. Keep making guns for those people because we still want to laugh at them. It's that simple.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, this whole line, like, if you were like Adam, you have to choose one of those. I would take the one that has the wood on it, but I don't. It's not a firearm that
shooting these is not something I'm interested in. I don't.
Well, I did it. I have a TAC 14.
Oh, that's right.
That was a gift, and it's not comfortable to shoot.
Yeah, we need to do something with yours because yours is crazy. Very much over the top.
Yeah.
So,
it was more offerings from Mossberg to expand their line of stuff. Cool, I guess. We'll see how they do. Not my cup of tea, but hey, not everything is made for me, and that's cool.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You know what's another I saw here that I saw posted in the, I think, TGC Nation, that bufferless bolt carrier system.
Oh, you know what? I covered there's like a rear plate that goes where your buffer tube would go. I covered that. I didn't know the carrier existed. I didn't know that was a thing to go with that. I was like, oh,
that would be the only reason that any of that would make any sense. If you think about it from like, do I want my firearm to actually function?
That's a K&S thing, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't claim to know. It just kind of came to mind based on a comment I saw here. But what I think is interesting about it was people were complaining about the price, it being kind of expensive, and what people I think discount, and I know they don't necessarily ever want the cost passed on to them, but the R&D that kind of went into developing something. So we'll see. It's a cool idea. I know a lot of people are starting to think side folders are the way they want things done, or how to make a gun more compact, especially like, Cqg MPX, for instance, the way the stock folds over to the side. So this, for those that haven't seen this, essentially what this is you covered it, but there's a plate that blocks off the rear where the buffer tube goes. I haven't seen that, so I can't really describe it. But the buffer or the bolt carrier system is essentially enclosed. If you think of like a 10 or like a 22 conversion for an AR-15, I guess would be the best way to describe it. How it has the rail at the top with the spring on it that goes back and forth. And then the bolt itself, it's kind of like that. It's a self-encapsulated
very much
system.
like that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to kind of describe it. Is a self-encapsulated system. Neat idea. My cup of tea, maybe, probably not, but cool. I know a lot of people were looking for that kind of stuff, and that's a neat way to go about it.
That's one of those things that I would like to try out, but I'm not necessarily sure that I would spend $400 on it.
Right. And I think that's going to be the problem.
Yeah. But hey, it's there's as one of our buddies would put it, there is a butt for every seat. And,
absolutely.
And that is, I guess, another seat that needs filling. So very cool. I guess if you're into that sort of thing, you know what? I've seen guns that have that sort of side folding, like skeletonized stock. Like I've seen ARs with that, where the entire mechanism is up in the upper, and I think that's cool. I don't know that it provides any real benefits besides having a side folding stock that you can now get. Like, yes, you can shoot it with the stock folded. Who cares? Why are you doing that? Extend the stock. If you're in an area where you can shoot that on US soil, if you're in an area where you can shoot it folded, 9 times out of 10 or 9.999 times out of 10, you're in an area where you can open that thing up and shoot it like that with the stock extended. Why would you? I don't get the appeal of those like pistols like that or side folded. I don't get that appeal.
Yeah, and again,
same thing goes for AKs, by the way. I'm sorry. I know there's like under folders and side folding AKs. I don't care if I can shoot it while it's folded. Why would I do that? There's no reason for me to do that.
I think the only advantage that something like that may offer is transportation. It being being a smaller compact package. But other than that, like, yeah, I'm with you on with the stock folded shooting it thing. Like, nah, no thanks. Been there, done that. No interest in it.
Well, I mean, we've done stuff where you can, like with the Law side folder, you can shoot it once, close it up, and then eject that spent case and keep rocking and rolling. And I think that's sufficient. Would you agree? Would you not agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Again,
I
don't know why. I don't know why most people want that kind of thing. If the idea is simply just to make it compact enough to stick in a bag that you can carry with you without it being super obvious, okay, that's one thing. If you're talking about deploying it and using it, well, what the hell do you do for a living is what I want to know.
Yeah. Yep. Fair point all around. Do we have anything else to cover this week, Adam? Or is that
no, that's what I had in my files there. So I think that brings us to the end of this.
Wait. There's a question. We have an audience question. Keith B. Apparently somebody wanted to know what was the gun Adam pulled out of the apparition bag in the SB Tactical spot. And if I'm not mistaken,
it's a Bren, I think.
That was the Bren 805.
Yeah, it's a CZ Bren 805.
Yeah, 5.56 pistol that was pulled out of there. And we should have a review coming on TGC within, I don't know, the next month or two on that very gun, because I've had that thing for a little bit, and it's one of the best 5.56 guns I own. This thing is so smooth, like unbelievably smooth for what it is. So we should have something coming on that very gun within the future. All right, Adam, go ahead. wrapped
Yeah,
around.
I had gotten an email from Izzy this morning asking about that. And I'm like, oh, I think it's the brand, but don't quote me on that. So anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's show. If you enjoyed everything, be sure to go check out our sponsors, Tactical Baby Gear. Head on over to tacticalbabygear.com. Use the coupon code TGC10 to save 10% off your order to get squared away for your incoming child or currently here child. If you're interested,
Your spawn needs this.
Yeah, your spawn demands it. Head on over to patreon.com/the Gun Collective. Pledge your support. You can join our $1 army or $5 forces. $5 gets you entered to win the monthly gun giveaway. Be sure to check out the Gun Collective everywhere on social media that you can find us, including YouTube, where you may have watched this, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which we don't really use, Snapchat, which we don't use at all. You can download the podcast if you're interested or find previous episodes over on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever else you find your favorite podcasts.
Did we get that squared away, by the way? Did we fix that?
Izzy took care of it. Yeah, finally.
Izzy got it. Izzy's on it.
Yeah. Izzy's on it, fixing everything as usual, picking up my mess. You can check me out on social media at the Adam Kraut on Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know, just Google it. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to join us hooligans while we entertain you, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.